met him 15 years ago. A 6-year-old child with a pale, blank, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. And today, we will decide who had the blackest eyes, who was the most evil, who was the best Michael Myers. Welcome back to the channel, and today I'll be ranking the portrayals of the Shape. That's right, folks. Who played Michael Myers the best? Now, before we get started, there's 8 portrayals of Michael I'll be reviewing, and I'm not going to include Tony Moran, who played Michael one scene in the original 1978 movie when he was unmasked, and I'm not going to include the child actors. I'm only doing the ranking of the guys that played Michael as the killer, the slasher, and as the Shape.
You understand?
Now, before we get started, let me just say this is my opinion of who did the best and who did the worst portrayal of Michael. And you don't have to necessarily agree. If you agree with my list, fine. But if you don't, put your list down below. Let me know who you thought was the best and who was the worst. And don't forget to subscribe, share, and if you like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button. Now, with that out the way, let's get on with the show. Coming in at number 8, the bottom, the worst portrayal of Michael Myers is Don Shanks from Part 5. Now, the thing I don't like about this portrayal, first of all, he's not intimidating. And on top of that, due to no fault of his own, he's in a horrible movie. The mask is garbage. He's not threatening. There's nothing about Part 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, that's any good in my opinion. So, Don Shanks, he's the bottom. Now, from here on out are all decent to great portrayals of Michael. Don Shanks, Part 5 is the only one I cannot stand, and that's partially due to the movie sucks and the mask is horrible on top of it. But coming in at number 7, keeping up with the theme of bad masks, Chris Duran from H2O. Now, I actually don't have a problem with this portrayal. Really, Chris Duran is actually pretty good portraying Michael, so I don't really understand most of the hate he get. But the reason why he dropped number 7 is, and it's not his fault, it's the mask is horrible. You can see his eyes, it's not intimidating. He almost had puppy dog eyes. And on top of that, that horrible one scene with the CGI mask, that just, get that out of here. We don't want that in our Halloween movies. Now, moving on to number 6 would be Brad Laree from Halloween Resurrection. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this movie, but the portrayal of Michael is pretty good. It's good atmosphere. The mask looks pretty good. He's intimidating. He's not the biggest Mike, but he's physically imposing. And if you put him in another movie, I think he would be in the top 3 or 4. But because he's in Halloween Resurrection and Busta Rhymes pretty much pumped him, which is the biggest detriment to that movie, he's sitting right there at number 6. Now, coming in at number 5 would be Dick Warlock from the original Halloween 2. Now, we're to the part where we're just nitpicking. And he does a pretty good job as Michael. I think he's the first one to really be physically imposing. Because the original Michael Myers was more like a cat. He's going through, you can't really tell where he's at. This one is up in your face. And he's the Halloween response to Friday the 13th. So he's pretty brutal. The only reason he's not up higher is because the mask, even though it's the original mask from the 1978 Halloween, his face is shaped different, so it looked kind of round and fat. and it kind of takes me out just a little bit. Like I said, we're nitpicking at this point. So Dick Warlock, he's number 5. Now coming in at number 4 will be George P. Wilbur. Now he played Michael Myers in part 4 and part 6. And the reason why he's up this high is basically because his portrayal in part 6. Part 4, he did a good job. It was the return of Michael Myers. There was nothing he did that stood out. It was just good. But part 6, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, he put on a little more weight because he was a little bit older. And this Michael was brutal. He was probably the first one that when you saw him, you were scared because he inflicted pain. The other Michaels up to this point, even in part 2, they would do quick kills, little slash. This one, he caused some damage. And with you combine that with a great mask in part 6 and the atmospheric vibes, he's sitting there at number 4. Now, from here on out, these are all superb portrayals of Michael Myers. All great in their own way. Now, coming in at number 3 would be Tyler Mane from the 2 Rob Zombie movies. Now, this Michael Myers take the case as far as brutality. He's bigger than your average Michael Myers. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I kind of like the 7-foot physical presence. He's a human Mike, sort of. At least they say that, but I'm still trying to figure out if you're a human, how can you take a gunshot to the face and still survive? But nevertheless, he did. And he is relentless. He kills with anger. Like, he's not just gonna stab you one time, because in the opening scene, he stabs the nurse like 20 times. And he does this repetitively. He uses strength as a weapon. He curb stomps a guy's face, totally smash it. He's probably if I'm getting chased by a Michael Myers, he's the one I would want chasing me the least, because I know he's gonna kill you. In a painful, excruciating way. It's probably a slow death. So he sits at number 3. Now, before I get to my number 2 and number 1, by process of elimination, you know who's left. There's Nick Castle and James Jude Courtney. Now, these two are really, really tight. Do I think the original Michael Myers is the best, or the latest Michael Myers, James Jude Courtney? And for me, coming in at number 2 is Nick Castle. Now, before you get mad, hit the dislike button or attack me in the comment section. I'm going to be honest with you. Nick Castle, for the longest, was number 1. Now, with the latest movie, Halloween Ends, it was razor sharp. I was a hair away from moving him back to number 1. But, looking at the totality of work, this Michael, while it's the original, is what we think of when we say the shade. He's classic. He's not very physically intimidating.
That's bullshit.
Which I know Halloween purists gonna say that's not the point. He's number 2 on my list, folks. And it's like razor thin. So this could change tomorrow if you ask me. So, but I give him his props. He's the original. The mask probably the best it looked, maybe. What he did with the character set the foundation. I respect it. And he's number 2. Which leaves my number 1, of course, James Jude Courtney. Now, the reason why he's number 1, in my opinion, is he take what Nick Castle did, which was a stealthy, mystical, you don't know if he's human or is he something supernatural about him. He took that and combined it with what Tyler Mane did the best, where he's very vicious, very brutal. And Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, it put him on top for me. Now, he almost took that step back with Halloween Ends, even though he did have good scenes, what little bit he was in the movie. But I can't deny what he did in his first 2 albums as Michael Myers was outstanding. He set the bar so high for the next person portrayed Mike. Honestly, when they reboot the series again with a new storyline, I hope that he's the one that continues, because James Jude Courtney, he has a presence about him where he can do both the hide in the shadows and in your face. And he's my number 1 portrayal of the shape. Now, What do you guys think? Do you agree with my list, or there's someone else you think should be number one, or you think my list is totally wrong? Remember, my opinion is just my opinion, not the right opinion. Put yours down below and let me know what you guys think. So thanks for watching, and go ahead and put your list down below, because I'm interested to see what you guys think.